Yo, it's Kevin, and this is the H&K MP5. In this video I'll give you a complete rundown of what I believe to be one of the most effective loadouts you can run in Tarkov as of patch 11.7. I'll give you information about the weapon itself, the ammo that I use with it, general loadout pointers, tips on general usage of the weapon itself, and a cost breakdown for the entire loadout. There will also be a recoil pattern test towards the end of the video for those who are interested. And also, please keep in mind that this is not necessarily the best MP5 setup that you can run, but it will be the best that I found, at least when only working with level 1 traders. The MP5. Cheap, reliable, deadly. I believe this to be the best weapon you can get your hands on when you either are 1. Completely new to the game and looking to learn the gunplay mechanics, 2. When the game has just been wiped or you have manually reset your account, 3. If you are in need of an effective budget loadout, or 4. When you want to look like an absolute badass whilst improving your point shooting. Point shooting is a very valuable skill to learn in Tarkov, mainly because of the fact that it saves you the time to ADS. Given the super quick time to kill in this game, becoming adept at this will let you win more gunfights and survive more in the long run. Not to mention that it also looks super cool. This gun is in my opinion one of the best to improve point shooting because of its tight recoil spread, high rate of fire and the easy to track bullets. The MP5 is purchasable at level 1 Peacekeeper for around $340 and its ability to fire the 9x19 Parabellum rounds at a rate of 800 RPM, combined with its compact size and ease of use, makes this weapon an absolute powerhouse. The MP5 features 3 fire modes: single fire, burst fire and full auto. Buying the MP5 from Peacekeeper will require dollars. To get those dollars you'll have 2 options. Peacekeeper will buy items from you for his dollars, and he will also trade your rubles for his dollars at a rate of about 115 to 1. Given that the MP5 costs about $340, we multiply this price by about 115 to get our price in rubles, which will be around, give or take, 40k. 30 round magazines can also be bought at Peacekeeper for around $40 a piece, which will be around 4.5k rubles. The 9x19 PST rounds are where this gun truly becomes a budget friendly setup. Sure, the MP5 will spew out ammo like there's no tomorrow, but only if you allow it to. A little trigger discipline can go a long way, although I'll be the first to admit that this can prove to be quite a challenge once you start using this weapon. However, the cheap 9x19 PST will completely make up for this, provided that you bring enough extra rounds to keep the MP5 going. For me personally, this round is the best to get for this gun when money is of any concern. It's not necessarily the cheapest of the 9x19 rounds, but it's the best of both worlds in terms of effectiveness and cost. The 9x19 PST GZH is sold by Mechanic at level 1 for 47 rubles each. Keep in mind that the MP5 from Peacekeeper already comes with a filled up magazine, but this will be PSO ammo. I would suggest to unload that and fill it up with PST yourself. The PST GZH does 56 health damage, meaning that 1 shot to an unarmored head or 2 shots to an unarmored chest will kill. It can penetrate up to level 2 armor reliably, but the main focus of this ammo will be to go for the flash targets always. The cost breakdown. Given a standard loadout with 3 extra magazines, this setup, purely running the weapon itself, will cost about the following: 40k rubles for the weapon itself, 13.5k rubles for 3 extra mags, meaning you'll have 4 in total as the MP5 itself already comes with a mag loaded up with PSO. 120 rounds of PST GZH at 47 rubles each is about 5.6k rubles for the ammo. A BlackRock chest rig to hold all of these mags, sold by Ragman at level 1, will set you back about 19.5k rubles. This all totals out at about 78.5k rubles spent in total. This may sound like a lot for some of you, but don't forget that with insurance you'll be almost guaranteed to get your magazines back, and I found quite often to get my MP5s back as well. The ammo is entirely dispensable. This will be the baseline of this loadout. Let's see what happens when we fully complete it. First thing is to buy a green Ss H68 Helmet from Ragman level 1. It will set you back about 18.7k rubles, and I'd highly recommend running this one for about every loadout. It's cheap level 3 armor and they don't block your ears, so your hearing is unaffected. And you'll still also have the option to run contacts underneath them, if you so wish. Last but not least, grab at least 1 AI2 medkit, some painkillers and a bandage, all sold by the therapist. These basic meds are mandatory for every raid. I would even bring 2 AI2s because of their very small health pool of only 100. They will not last you for long. The mats will set you back an additional 10k, give or take, and all in all, with the helmet and the mats, the entire loadout costs just about 100k. Money well spent if you ask me. The only thing that's really missing is a backpack and some chest armor maybe, but those are barters at level 1 traders. Keep an eye out for hard drives and trade them at Peacekeeper level 1 for MBSS backpacks. In my opinion, the armor trades at level 1 Rackman are just not worth it, and if you really want to run armor, I would suggest to just keep your eyes open on the flea market for Cuirassier armors or press armors. Just make sure you buy one with plenty of maximum durability. Before we move into the actual recoil and spray patterns testing, there are still some tips I want to share for using the MP5. Aim for the face if your target is looking in your direction. If he's not, go for the unarmored legs. Leg meta exists and this weapon is very proficient at it. If you really like going for the legs, then I'd suggest taking another look at the ammo chart and go for the best flash damage bullet that you can. It's not my personal preference, as I've explained before though, but it's still very viable. Practice hipfire with this gun because it's very good at point firing. And last but not least, stay on the move and always look to be the aggressor. Make sure you're using the MP5 in situations where it excels at, meaning close quarters. Don't expose yourself in the open too much with it and try and close the gap with your targets as soon as possible. Some things about the recoil and spray patterns. For all the footage you're seeing, I was making sure to only press and hold down the fire button and not to move my mouse at all. All the movement that you're seeing is purely the weapon recoil. The spray patterns are very predictable for the most part. Most of it will be vertical and easy to control, with some exceptionally horizontal sprays in the mix every now and then. This is not necessarily a bad thing though. Because the MP5 fires at such high RPM, use this to your advantage and paint over enemies' faces and necks. In time you'll see that this weapon, if anything, is probably the closest thing we have in Tarkov to a laser cutter. That's it for me. Hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, consider leaving a like and subscribe to the channel if you want to support what I do and stay up to date with all of my EFT content. And if you didn't, well then come fight me in the factory, scrub. Anyway, feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. See you on the battlefield. Cheeky breeky and dicky needles.